It's the first confirmed case of the war in Ukraine having caused casualties in another country. This one was not on Ukrainian territory, where there's been a spurt in Russian missile strikes over the last 24 hours. Media reports said 2 Polish citizens were killed as a missile landed in a village in eastern Poland, 4 miles from the country's border with Ukraine. The Polish president came out to say that there's no sign yet that the hit was an intentional attack. Investigations continue.
We are now working to establish the causes of what happened and everything that took place during the incident with international experts whom we have invited to our group of experts, who have been working on the scene for several hours. We asked for the support of allies with whom we are in constant contact.
Not just another missile strike, because this one was in NATO territory. And the hit holds massive consequences arising out of what is potentially a vicious escalation of the Ukraine-Russia conflict.
An attack on all allies in that principle of collective defense. But there are indications emerging now that the US may be stepping back and taking NATO back from potentially a devastating confrontation directly on the ground with Russian forces.
As alarm buttons were pushed in Warsaw, tremors were felt at the G20 summit in Indonesia. G7 and NATO leaders got into a huddle as US President Joe Biden called an emergency meeting. Biden underscored support for Ukraine, even as he expressed strong doubts on the missile in Poland coming from Russia.
There is preliminary information that contests that. I don't want to say that till we completely investigate, but it's unlikely in the minds of the trajectory that it was fired from Russia, but we'll see.
The Polish Foreign Ministry identified the missile as being made in Russia, but the Polish president was more cautious about its origin, saying that officials did not know for sure who fired it or when it was made. Russia rejects any hand in firing a missile into Poland. The Ukraine sees reason to claim Russia's deliberate bid to escalate the conflict.
Hitting missiles on NATO territory. This is Russian missile attack on collective security. This is a very significant escalation. We must act, and I want to say now to all our Polish brothers and sisters, Ukraine will support you. Terror will not break free people. Victory is possible when there is no fear. You and I don't have it.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg called an emergency meeting of the alliance's envoys to discuss the events close to the Ukrainian border in Ukraine. It boils down to one factor. Where did the missile that hit Zewodo village in NATO member Poland come from? Theories raised range from it being a Russia missile fired into Ukraine, crossing over into Poland, or even that it was a Ukrainian warhead to counter Russia. All eyes on a definitive statement as mind-boggling fallouts are calculated.